but let me say this. That thing that you just said is why I'm glad you're doing this. Wait a second.
Let's let everything...
Let me see your eyes. Nothing to drink this morning?
I'm fucking drunk. It's my house. It's my apartment. I can drink.
Our house, our apartment.
That
I'm mildly a few months behind rent time.
I'm paying more rent.
David Leo on content. With Shane Hartline, yeah, it's 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 content.
Tell me when it hurts. Kyle, it hurts. Kyle, it hurts. Are we rolling yet? Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Content. Your favorite internet. This week, we have a very special guest, David Leo Schultz. He's an actor. He's a comedian. He's also on TikTok. He makes content. He makes feature films. He's made several feature films on his own. At the time of this recording, it is a day after Gabby's birthday. So we still have our decorations up, and we might, have to incorporate it into some kind of sketch when our good friend David gets here. I have shows happening. If you want to come and you want to experience Shane Hartline on stage, unlike any way you've ever seen him. I woke up 1 hour ago and I'm feeling it. We were just talking about before the camera started rolling, before I continue my my self-promotion. We were talking about before the camera started rolling. Because it is Gabby's birthday, we had a few drinks last night. Woke up feeling not 100%. As you would expect in America. In Italy, this isn't pro-Italy all the time. I like Italy. Gotta say, give credit where credit's due. No bad in alcohol. You wake up, you drink. I drank so much on our honeymoon. I woke up feeling 100% every time. Kyle brought up a good point. Hey, America, why not just make alcohol like that?
You look like a spooky ghost.
Hey, America, why don't you just make alcohol that doesn't make you feel like...
No, I don't get it. I don't get why America is like, hey, food starts pure. Let's just make it bad for people. Okay, let's continue setting up. Back to my shows. Got shows happening. I've been really enjoying performing lately. Sometimes that isn't the case, and I'm sure a lot of performers can relate to that sentiment that sometimes you don't enjoy performing. Sometimes it's more of a labor, but lately I've really been enjoying it. I have shows coming up. ShaneHartline.com. Get tickets, mostly in the Southwest area right now, but hopefully here soon, bless you. Hopefully here soon I'll be coming to a city near you, because I really like doing shows out of town. I did a show in San Diego recently, and hot damn do I like performing out of town. Oh, little wife cameo. Oh, she finds a camera. Our guest will be here shortly. Really looking forward to you guys getting to know him. I'm looking forward to having a deep conversation with him. He's good. He's one of those like really good deep conversation type people. So this is going to be a deep episode. If you don't like deep conversations, if you don't like them, find another straight white male podcast to listen to, because this straight white male podcast is going to get real deep for the next 45 to 50 minutes. Okay, thanks.
So this is a podcast.
It's sort of a podcast. It's sort of a lot of things. Content is sort of a sketch. It's sort of, what if I told everybody watching right now, nothing you've seen so far in the 10, 11 episodes was real. Every bit of it was scripted. The script's right here. If you see me by myself, walking by myself, have pity. That's pretty good. I could be in Hamilton. Yeah. La, da, 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 da. I booked it.
So like
Oh.
blocked? Okay.
You want to start this thing?
Let's do it again.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hey, David's here.
I'm here.
Let's do this thing. Look out, Boosh.
Brewski.
Hey, do you want to come up here?
Just the three of us.
Yeah, just how it always has been.
Yeah.
David, what's up, dude?
Hey, man.
Hey, thanks
Dude.
for being here.
Dude, it's good to see
Welcome
you.
to Content. So, David, this show is all about making content or making content. We can do
Making contentment?
Either making contentment. We can do either one. Basically, in an industry where we make so many types of things with an agenda in the sense that we've made. All right, Bruce.
It's okay.
We love you. Well, we'll get this out. All right, Bruce.
I
come
love
on.
you.
Come on. Let's get down.
Dogs
Get
love
down.
me.
Get down, buddy. Good boy. So in this industry of making so much content with an agenda of like, making something to procure opportunities or raise our status, like this is one thing that I'm making with or trying to make with no agenda. And it's hard sometimes. It's like, even though I'm just getting started, there's still this, I hope that this leads to more opportunities or whatever. It's like I'm trying to not think that way with this. And, you complimented my setup with today we, have a lot more frills and types things because decor than we usually do for Gabby's birthday. But even this setup that you complimented and thank you is like much less than I really want to do. And the show might evolve over time. But my point being is you know better than anybody like about, how much this industry has become having to make your own thing to get to another place in this business. Like, and I think that as much as it is right now, it's even getting more that way.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, when I came out, which was too long ago for the resume I have, it felt like people that were ambitious enough, whether it be to like an indie filmmaker or try to just do anything yourself, you were definitely in the 1% of, you're going to try to be crazy like Stallone or Damon and Affleck, and because it was just like because a lot of the circles. I'm an actor, or a wannabe actor.
You are an actor. What do you mean?
We'll get into the self-esteem stuff if you want to, but I think that if I just came out to be a filmmaker, then I would have ran in circles where that was much more common. But as an actor who wanted to make stuff to, like you said, further your career or whatever, that was a much smaller circle. Now it's in everybody's circle, right? And social media. At least when I got started, there was what was that? It was like a blogging site is all that existed. It was like Zanga or something like that.
We were talking about that recently.
I used it. I can't remember. It started with like an X or something.
Yeah,
Zanga.
Was it Zanga?
It was perfect.
Look, since this is all about, no agenda. I think that like, I was driving here and going like,
what are we doing?
Well, yeah, and it just like to be asked to, I'm a nobody, and so
that's not true.
Well, I'm a somebody in terms of like all people matter, but I think that as performers, Kyle's performer, you're performer, you go like there's this comedic instinct inside me that's like, all right, and then I was driving here, stuck in traffic, and I was like, why do I want to do this today? And I was like, I just like Shane.
Yeah,
right.
And that's why you're here is because I bring on people that I like.
Yeah.
People that inspire me, people that I find very talented. And I think like going back, like we found each other through YouTube.
I remember because I think I kind of found you. I think, I remember it was really long ago. It was like, I want to say 2008, 2009, somewhere around there, because you weren't even out here yet. And the reason because I was really at the time obsessed with trying to get on Saturday Night Live.
Sure.
Right. And so, and I saw, like, I had thoughts of like ideas to do to try to get on there because I was so obsessed. And I saw you doing it, and I was so impressed by it. The balls to do that. Like I think you had a
balls,
website.
Not a lot of brain. Like
oh, dude, I could tell you some mistakes I've made in trying to pursue that show. But anyway, that's why I reached out, because I was like, oh, this guy seems similar to me. And then I remember, we exchanged info, and then I don't think you had been out here too long, and you reached out and we did lunch, and then I think we lost touch for like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been
something.
off and on, but like that tends to happen with like people in this town. Like
it's 100%.
I have friends that we grew up in the same town that have moved out here that I'd never see.
Yes, I had friends that I was like for 14 years like besties with. I move away for like 6 months, to my wife's hometown, and we're like, nah, let's come back. And then we come back, never seen him since. And we still love each other, like each other, on social media. It's just, now I got kids and it just gets harder. And it's just the how this town is. It's very weird. But what I was going to say earlier is, as I was driving here, I was like, oh, I think that if I just want to have a conversation. But I'm open to whatever you want to do.
Yeah, well...
But I felt such a, I always have, in our exchanges of going, oh, there's just something about Shane where I feel like,
we have so much in common.
Yeah, like there's just like a kindred spirit in terms of like, well, I'll say this, like of all the creative people I know, Howard, and I know I don't know you as, that well, but there's sometimes when you interact with some people out here where you go, oh, this guy is genuine. And if you meet somebody genuine where you don't feel like you're having to go through cuss or not cuss on this?
You can cuss.
Okay. That you don't feel like you have to go through 5 layers of bullshit, right? Where it's like, oh, this guy is kind of like me. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
Or you smell an agenda or something.
Yeah. Very agenda based. And, it's a hard town to have, I would say, any type of relationship. Even the acquaintances, where you're like, oh, I just see my buddy at work or whatever. Well, move out of this town to do that, right? Because to do that in this town, and then I would even say with like friends you have for a very long time, and maybe I'm just not the brightest guy, but sometimes it's taken me years to go, oh, I guess I just really thought we were just friends, real friends, and now I just kind of go, there's some weird in it, competitive thing, that, and maybe you never liked me. I don't know. I've been out here a long time, so I've had, lots of different experiences where, and I'm sensitive, right? So there's a part of me that's like,
Titty baby.
What are you up to?
A club card member here.
Yeah.
No, but I think the older I'm getting way more sensitive, and I'm fine with that. I don't give a shit. Who's gonna say anything to me?
Well, I think there's like an economy of like time as you get older where you go, I don't want to play games anymore, especially when it comes to genuine friendship.
Yeah, and I can, and I'm sure you can, as many years as you've been in this business, I can smell very quickly when someone meets me that wants something from me. Not that I have much to offer, but like I can definitely smell like certain people that like they meet me and then you just smell when it's like.
So I was looking at IMDb, and your manager is so and so, right?
Is your manager looking? No, but you know what I mean. Like you can just smell pretty quickly when someone's like here for something deeper as a friendship, or here because they're seeking something.
And I think that I even can have empathy for that.
I totally can. And I think that there's room for that type of people in your life if you're. I want to give. I want to help when I can.
No.
But you also got to take care of yourself.
Yes, I think the thing for me is because that's always the thing I've struggled with is, and I have intentionally not at times. I wasn't very good in the beginning, but over time I got better at going. I think this person really likes me, and I really like them as as friends, and I think they would help me. But I go, I just don't want to involve that in the equation.
Yeah.
Because at some point I started choosing, I would rather choose to have less of a career and to have real friends than get to where I got and felt like I kind of know they didn't want to help, but I knew they would. Like, and I don't know that I've ever really found that balance of going, like if I faltered in any way, I'd rather not ask now. Because I go, I don't really know how to do I don't know how to do networking on a genuine way whatsoever. Maybe it's because I'm from Indiana or whatever, but like, I just don't know how to like, let me bullshit you to.
Well, I think networking forced is always crunchy. Like, I think that when it happens naturally and you let, not to get too, whoopie doobie, but like I think
No,
that
get whoopie doobie.
I sometimes you gotta get whoopie doobie, and I think when you energetically are attracted to somebody, and then networking can happen naturally, there is nothing wrong with that. I think
Yeah.
that was meant to be. You were meant to find that person, and like
Yeah.
I believe in synchronicity, and like sometimes like
Sure.
you know things don't happen just out of nowhere. It's like you know those moments where it's like, how did this person on this day
Yes.
reach out to me? It
100%.
just is too surreal. I think those moments are absolutely fine to try to network, but I think when you're like, that's why I've never liked networking events, or I've never liked, these like, hey, come to this mixer and meet people. It's like when it's forced, it just feels weird and
Well, I can't even do that at like a UCB show or something.
Sure.
I'm like the guy in the back, and they're like, "Are you a comedian?" I was like, "Not today." I can't do it.
Sure.
And so to do that other thing, yeah.
Yeah,
So
hit me.
here's the question I was going to ask as you started your intro: is how are you?
Right now, I'm in a really good headspace. I felt.
Here, lay down if you need to talk about it.
I might. When I feel safe enough, I would. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But a reason I think we also have become, we've become close in our journey out here is that go back to the hibby dibby or whatever that you're definitely similar to me in that like I believe in a lot more than this world and bigger thoughts and all that. But like I felt a shift recently for me, simply in that I feel like I've come out of a cloud, whether that cloud was depression, whatever, but it was not consistent for about 2 years, but it was after I got done working on Station 19. I spoke about it briefly on a past episode, Josh Server's episode, actually, if you want to go back, check that out. But I experienced something that I had never felt in the industry before, in that I was working on a dream kind of project, and then for creative reasons that ended, and the camp kept going, and I was invited back to camp, and that was something that I had never experienced. And that wasn't the sole reason, as I dug deeper through therapy, that I was in a fog or in a bit of a depression. But it was a definite part of it.
Well, it feels like abandonment, I imagine.
It just brought back a lot of childhood shit. I think that a big part of this reason is I want to be a big part of this. The reason I'm in this business is I want to be accepted on a massive scale. Is that healthy or not? I don't know. It's just my truth. So like I'm coming out of about a 2-year on and off shit depression, I think, but I'm feeling really good right now. And I'm
do you still feel like you want to be accepted on a massive
Oh
scale?
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's something. Oh, I think I'm getting better with, or let me give you an example and then see if that answers your question. So I still, as many do, can't shake the want to be a part of SNL thing. So I sent
Dude, I was there for so many years.
Yeah, it's something.
I finally let it go.
I want to talk about that.
It took me. I mean, it's embarrassing how long it took.
I want to talk about that.
And it took
and
me.
I am apologizing that I didn't vacuum the couch before this.
It doesn't bother me. I miss dogs.
This is it's not my dog's hair; it's my hair.
Oh.
I sometimes sit on the couch naked.
Hey, no judgment.
Got a lot of white hair on my body.
I die from
neck
here
down.
up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
recently I sent they requested another tape. Nothing. I didn't get cast. I don't know if you heard.
I didn't hear, but
shows this Saturday. I gotta go. But
it's not like this is a big year or anything.
But when I found out, yeah, right. We fantasize like, 50. That's
I'll
when
be
I'm
on
gonna-
the 50th.
50th.
Maybe the 100th.
Yep, we'll
Yeah.
keep going. I found out on deadline I didn't get a test or anything this year, and this was the first year that I didn't get even the slightest bit bummed. I didn't feel anything, and that to me, I was like, okay,
Progress.
Like
Progress.
Of course, I still want to be involved in that show. Of course, I want to,
Yeah.
host it or be one of the cast members. I don't think that will ever leave me.
You love to be Shane Gillis, get fired on there, and then come back.
I'm the
host.
safer Shane.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm your America. I'm the safer choice. No, just the fact that I didn't feel anything, and I was at peace with it for probably the first time. And over the years, it's been, more severe or less.
This is actor talk here, but like the fact that you got requested to tape or ever tested is more than I ever got. Like I was like, can you send this in and follow up? And the rep I had at the time had close enough ties to where he could not in a bullshit way make that happen, and did. And it was like considered, but if I'm honest, I never got we'd like to see from, and now he can audition live and never testing. So the fact that you got even to those is like, oh,
yeah,
that's
it's cool. But at this point, and I'm sure you knew, like I've done a lot of tapes, I've done showcases, I've done the things. At this point, to still be asked, I'm just also like, you've seen me, like what more? So every time of year when it's like time to put together a new tape, and a lot of comedians and actors know this, it's like, all right, you've got 5 minutes to be as funny as possible. It's like, what can I do now? So it's like, it's exciting because you can come up with new material, but it's also like a little stressful in that, like, what more tricks do I need to pull here?
Yeah.
But you did something that was very hard. You were able to, have you fully let go of?
I have. It was very strange, and it went way deeper than SNL. But it was like SNL adjacent in a weird way. In matter of fact, it was such a weird letting go that like SNL wasn't even on my mind anymore, because it was so like, oh,
sorry, 1 second.
Oh yeah, do your thing.
Sales calls, fuckers. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Oh, I get so much. It was so like, it was a huge self-discovery moment, is what I'm trying to say. That when I discovered this thing, and I'll say it in a second, I was like, whoa, like I was so like embarrassed. I was embarrassed so much so SNL wasn't even on my mind anymore. Here's what it was. It was from the time I was a boy to just a few years ago, always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. Looking back, did like just too needy in moments in the industry, like using my connections to try to get there. Like I came out here, I didn't want to be an actor. I didn't want to be a stand-up. All I wanted to do was sketch comedy, be honest. I would be at Groundlings or whatever, going through the program, and I'd meet other actors, and they're like, "Do you have an agent? You going out for commercials?" Like, no, I don't want any of that. SNL or bust, baby. And then I would spend years going, maybe I should have gone to Chicago. Maybe I should have gone to New York. And I just one-track mind. I was in the Groundlings. Like, I didn't do other things.
Yeah.
I would just, for me, that route was so
very specific.
small.
Yeah.
It was Groundlings. And I ended up, for a while, became friends with an original writer on there, Ann Beats. And she became a friend. And like first few years out here, and I like met Lorraine Newman and Rosie Schuster, and then when I got my first movie off the ground, like Chevy Chase, and my next movie, Chris Kattan, and like I hit up Chris to, hey, I'm going to, my managers and I are going out to the SNL after party, and would you hit up the producers? And he did, and I look back at some of that stuff, and I was like, oh gosh, I was so needy and desperate and whatever. But okay, so here's what happened. Here's the embarrassment. I get to, here's a part of what kept me going after years of no was, I'll give you an example. I won't name the manager, but I had a manager. I had two different managers in the process that at the time I thought maybe got me close. I had the manager who used to work at SNL, and they, it was a very heartbreaking story. I had just done these movies with Chevy Chase and Chris Kattan, and I was so desperate. I was like, hey, would you maybe like a meet and greet? Would you just do anything to get me there?
I don't know. It's desperation.
Well,
It's just,
well, I ended up. It's a sad story.
Okay,
What
okay.
happened? So, I tried it. I was like, hey, maybe just meet, and then next year we'll meet somebody, and then I was so new. Remember, I had like just gotten here and gotten really lucky and gotten money and gotten movies made with these stars I idolized growing up, and I didn't know anything about the business. And I had this manager who shall remain nameless for the rest of my life. And what they did is they said, okay, but you also owe me 10% of your producing money. And I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And they were only repping me as an actor. Like, I wasn't even trying to be a writer or I just got, and I'm broke, right? Like, I'm in the debt to I give them the 10% and we do it. He goes, I fly out there. I'll never forget this feeling. We go see the show. It's great. It was the John Malkovich show.
oh, damn.
Yeah, 2008.
Damn, what a show.
It was great. Saw the live show. I had seen it once, like 6 years before at a dress rehearsal. So this is my first time to see a live show.
Quick tangent. But,
Yeah.
I think that was the time they were filming a documentary for the show that ended up on Hulu or something.
Maybe
Something like that.
I remember it so specifically because
I remember that episode was within the documentary. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I met like half the cast, right? And I met one of the producers. I met the dudes. I met Steve Higgins. I met Shoemaker. I met Elia Cohen. All this, but it has a very sad twist to it. So I meet my manager at the time before, and what happened was I meet the manager, and we do like a drink before, and they go over the game plan. All right, here's what we do. We're gonna go see the show. We're gonna have a great time, and then we're gonna go to the after party, and I'm gonna introduce you to everybody as my client. Who?
How old were you at the time?
I was 28. Okay. So I was 28. I mean, look, I got goosebumps thinking about that moment. I remember feeling like this is the happiest.
This is it.
I'm surprised I get emotional. This is the happiest moment of my life. Like, this is the dreams. You got to remember, I had just like weeks before been on set with Chevy Chase, Burt Reynolds, Chrissy Dan, Fred Willard. And I'm like, this is it.
Yep.
My life's about to begin. Not that like I wouldn't have to audition a bunch and maybe not this year, maybe next year or whatever. But I'm like, it's that like, this is my origin story, right? And I had such great experiences with like Chris and Chevy, and I had written the scene the night before Chevy and Burt Reynolds tells me like I'm going to be the next big thing in comedy, and we're going to work together, and like my mind is just melting in this moment. Do the show, or go to the show, after party, which was a cool experience if this didn't happen. So we get there, bunch of people around, like Chevy wasn't there, but his wife Janie was there, brought one of her daughters, I think, and Shoemaker's there, Steve Higgins is there, Jimmy Fallon is there, which was a great experience. Like, he hadn't launched his very first talk show yet, and he's talking to me like I'm a somebody. He knows I'm a nobody, but he's like, just a one-on-one. It was a great night. But here's how he introduced me, everybody. The game plan went out the window, and he goes, hey, this is my friend. We just came here shopping for the weekend.
So they dropped the game plan? Like, did you ever question them about that?
I knew in that moment, it was kind of one of those like moments where you go, now I know you're a bad person. Because I remember I was still new to the industry, right? So I had already given them 10 grand, right? All the money I had left. And then this moment happened. It was like, I got back from the trip, and like 2 days later, I fired them.
Yeah.
Because, and here's how desperate I was for SNL, right? Even in firing them, I'm like, what if you're making a mistake? You just were in New York. You just were whatever. But it was like
Your gut.
that thing inside me of like, if they introduce me as their friend.
And they don't believe in you? Yeah.
They don't believe in me. They don't whatever. They don't whatever.
Also, like, there's like weird manipulation and just fucked up. Like, you guys went out there for this. You had this game plan, and then the moment that you got there, they changed their mind.
I will. My buddy, I think it was a year or 2 years later, did a pilot with ABC, and I won't name names because if there's anybody out there one day that draws connections, they could probably figure it out.
Checking time.
But there was a famous person on the show with my buddy, and everybody would know who it is. And they shoot the pilot. My buddy brings me backstage, and meet all the celebrities in the pilot. And I knew that this one famous person who was in the show with my buddy was once repped by this manager. I had known that because when I got with the manager, I was like, oh, whoa, right? It was one of the reasons I was like excited. And in this manager, anyway, I go, hey, we have something in common. And this celebrity was like, oh yeah, what's that? And I was like, this manager, I was repped by this manager. I just wanted to see what they would say. And this person, this celebrity, grabbed my hands and went, oh my God, I am so sorry. And I was like, oh my God. Like for this brief moment, it was my only interaction with the celebrity, but we had this like 5 minutes of going, you'll never.
Shared experience.
I was like, you'll never believe, I can't even, I didn't even go into the story because I didn't want to take their time. But I was like, it was the worst experience. I've never been, she goes, honey, you don't even have to tell me. Yeah.
Well, that says everything. So your gut was right.
My gut was right. Glad I got out of there.
Man.
Yeah. So that's my sad. Let me fast forward to, so that was like peak. And then there was a couple of years later where I had a different manager that said him and Lauren were buddies. And I'm so jaded now after that experience where I'm like, I don't know who's telling the truth or not.
I never...
So here's what he told me. He was like, Lauren thinks you're funny. He's just going younger. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm older, now. And I still wasn't letting it go at that point, right? I was still like, no, I'm going to try again. I'm trying again. Yeah. Like Leslie Jones was 46, or whatever. And so I was like, I'm going to keep going. And then, and then after that, I was like, well, you know what? I'm not on Groundlings yet. So like maybe once I get on Grounds, and then I didn't get Sunday Company. I remember when I didn't get, and that's why I came out here. It's like crying. It's all this stuff is like, I was just, you could do a case study on how sad and obsessed I was. Here was the breakthrough. Now, before the pandemic, I'd finally let it go in the sense of like,
well, remember you wrote it, there was an article or
yes,
yeah.
That was probably peak of my that was actually it was in the Hollywood Reporter. It was what I had seen it was like a stunt, right? I'd seen another actor do it. It was actually more about trying to like pitch a screenplay for Die Hard.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you could look it up. And my manager fired me for it. And you
for
know
that
what?
article?
Yeah, this is a different manager.
Okay.
Yeah, manager fired me for it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like I think I was in a, here's the thing. When the article came out, I got 2 phone calls. The first phone call was like, David, I read it. It was awesome. Like, because I was like pitching this like Die Hard concept. It's just all this is childhood stuff, right? Die Hard, SNL. It's like we came out here to do our little childhood dreams, right? So I did that. He thought, oh man, this is well written. This is great, whatever. He calls me back. And we're still friends to this day, by the way. He's remained a friend, and when something pops up, he'll be like, hey, I know I don't rep you anymore, go in for this, right? He's got me in for big things like the last Beverly Hills Cop movie, stuff like that. And he's not my manager anymore, and I have an agent, I moved on. But so we're still friends, but look, it's business, right? And so like he calls me with that, the first thing of like, yeah, good job, I don't see any problem with it. Well, I cracked a joke in the article. It says, I'm going to butcher it now, but it said something like, hi, I'm an actor, I'm a comedian, you might know me from some of my previous work as your Lyft driver. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
It was my opener line, right?
It's a bit.
So he calls me up and he goes, this just shows you this business. So he already called me, he was like, I liked it. It was good, and it was in the Huffington, like a Huffington Post thing too, and Hollywood Reporter. He tells me he likes. It's like a. I even got some interest. Like some people reached out, like different manager firms, different one. It didn't pan out, but he calls me like an hour later, and he goes, "I gotta let you go." And I was like, "Oh," and that's where I realized, like, yeah, I'm being too desperate. And so I'm going to own that piece. He didn't say that to me, but it was just that moment where you self-reflection is like, you're waking up and you're like, oh, okay. It was an indicator of like, there's something wrong in here that I need to. So here's what he says. He goes, I go, why? Right? He didn't say you're being too desperate. He goes, there's another manager at my firm that got a call this morning, and somebody in the industry was making fun of him. So I hear you guys are repping Lyft drivers now, and the team's embarrassed, and so I gotta let you go.
It's a fucking joke.
But that's this
that
business.
Shows
that's this business, you know.
There is, I believe,
if he was still, and I still love this manager. We're still friends, actually. If he didn't have a big firm with partners, he'd still be repping me today. And the saddest part is, like, we were on a good trajectory, and then,
It's two thoughts. I think there is such a fine line between desperation and just passion and hunger, and I
can't figure it out.
I think that
I'm trying.
I can understand why some people find.
But you're like fucking Spielberg jumped off a tram and pretended to work there.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that. I think some people that don't understand will be quick to say, "Oh, they're desperate and that's unattractive."
Yeah.
Until you.
Until
it works, or until it works, and then they're like, "God, he just grabbed the bull by the horns."
Balls on that guy.
Man, with the balls. But like, until then, it just can always be stamped desperate. But I still think that until somebody has a passion, they're going to be desperate, like you said, until it works, and then and then it's like that was a part of their story. They have their fight, their hunger, and so. I always say fuck you to the person that's like, you're desperate. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, we're all desperate. We all want this. And if you don't, then like, you're just pretending or if you are saying you don't, you're pretending you don't to act like you don't care, which is a whole thing in comedy that I could go off on a tangent is like, they're not just comedy in other aspects of this industry where it's like people put more effort into the appearance like they don't give a shit, down to what they're wearing, down to their social media, they care so much about their, that doesn't fit my aesthetic on my timeline. It's like, fuck your fucking timeline. Be authentic. There's a whole effort that they put in that I'll call equally as desperate to appear like they don't care. But everyone that's in this business fucking gives a shit. So I'm going to say, fuck you if you're one of those people that's like, oh, you're desperate. It's too desperate.
You know...
Sorry, wrestling promo over.
No, this is a positive thing. Like, as, you know, one of your friends, maybe I don't know you as all your other friends.
You can say anything you want.
But let me say this. That thing that you just said is why I'm glad you're doing this. Because I go that, and I've seen that passion in our conversation.
Yeah.
And I go...
I haven't put it out there as much. Yeah.
I go, that's the Shane that is magnetic. It draws me in, you know.
Thanks, man. I want people,
and it answers your question with like, should I, shouldn't I? Low tech, high tech. It's like, fuck it.
Fuck it all. Do it or
like,
don't.
What do you want?
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I spent 2 years thinking about this. This is an example, but you know how this is. But this is my truth. Content. This show, Content. I spent 2 years, came up with the idea, the loose idea in January of 2022. And I didn't launch it until 2 months ago. Yeah. Because of many different reasons. Trying to make it something more than it. Just trying to. This is lame.
Cut
doubt.
from the same cloth,
dude. It's like overthinking instead of just putting something out there. See how it evolves. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't give a shit. It's just you got to start. You got to at least take the first step. And if
you can always go unpublish. or not
Yeah, yeah,
publish,
yeah, yeah.
but make the fucker.
Yep,
How
yep.
you want to make
Yep,
it.
yep.
You know, it's almost like the principle of screenwriting really, that so many people have said this, really applies to all areas of art, which is the first draft, let your heart write. The second draft, let your head write, right? I think it applies across the board, whether it doesn't matter, a comedy sketch or a movie or like a vlog. It doesn't matter, a painting. Just fucking let your heart paint, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then you can go, oh, like I wrote a screen after the last little micro movie I did. I had this fucking screenplay that had to do with my childhood shit and all this stuff. I was so excited about it because it's the one thing I've written that I can't give up on. Sure. And and then I'll write let me do a sci-fi version of it. Let me do, and not because I'm trying to people please, but because I'm like, the story is important to me and I don't know how to get it out, right? Like I have written, made, gotten produced several movies while trying to write this one. After the last movie I do, little tiny baby movie, I'm like, okay, this is going to be in post for a while because it's visual effects and like I don't know how to do any of that. My friends are doing, so let me give myself something to do, and I felt a change coming in me, and I didn't quite know what that was as an artist, you know, where it was like maybe this is my goodbye letter to comedy. This last movie, like I could feel this, like I'm wanting more, I'm wanting different. Comedy will always be a piece of the pie, but instead of it being the main meal, maybe it's just an ingredient, right?
It's a part of you.
It's a part of me. It always will be. And if I try to like not do any humor, it seeps out anyway. Right?
Yeah.
The mischievous child within is like, fuck this, you know? So, but I write this fucker, right? I get one of my great screenwriting friends who helped me write The Buddy Cop. And I was like, look, this isn't our cup of tea, but this is really important to me. And she's like one of my best friends. I was like, would you do this with me? We actually write something that I still think is like pretty great. But after this maybe second or third draft, I was like, I felt like Forrest Gump in the movie where it's like, I think I'm done running now. Where it was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oof.
Where I was like, and even the potential, this is where things started shifting for me, or one of the chapters where it started shifting, where I was like, I think this, with time and development, could be a killer movie. Like maybe I just sell it, right? Or maybe somebody else directs it or whatever. Not even to act it. The pain was so visceral, and still is, where I was like, I'm gonna move on.
From the script?
Completely. I was like, what I learned as an artist and the human being in the artist's shoes is that I can't write anything semi-autobiographical, even if I put like a high concept twist on it. That's what I was basically doing. This is my story. Let me tweak it a little bit. High concept, horror, sci-fi, and I thought that'll be enough distance. And what I realized for me, at least where I'm at now, is it's still too close. So if I'm gonna do anything, what I got to do is shift into metaphor, because with metaphor I can go whatever. It's like where the wild things are. What do you mean
by that, shifting?
Where the wild things are, right? Like Wizard of Oz, right?
I see.
Cowardly Lion, like he has a courage inside of it. It's represented. So metaphor, right? And so for me, I'm like, at least for now, it's just too painful to do it, you know? And it was becoming unhealthy. Like when I actually told my wife, I was like, I think, because she knows about this, I was like, I think I'm finally ready to let this go. And she goes, oh, good. Oh, good. Oh. It's good. I don't know where we are, but
well, I mean, I relate to that so much. I'm writing a feature right now, or it's written it's my childhood. All the characters are my family and my friends, so it's so close and so personal. And I've met with a couple people that have shown interest, and two things that are being told to me is it'd be easier if we had a director attached. And I'm like, this is my childhood.
Yeah.
I have to
You have
direct
to do
this.
it,
I
yeah.
have to direct
Yeah.
this. It's too close.
Yeah.
Two,
I totally get it,
because
by the
it's
way,
it's
yeah.
not horror or a sci-fi. It's like they're like right now. It's like a dramedy is just too hard to sell when you're an unknown. So it's like it's one of those things. It's like I will never not want to make this movie. I will never. I will make it. It's just maybe not right now, and that's fine. You've made. It's crazy, man. It's easy to make content. I should say relatively easy. There's so many mental hoops and barriers you have to jump through sometimes, but like technically easier now to make content with a cell phone or whatever. Back then, I used to use that camera. It wasn't as easy. How far back did you, when did you start making your own shit?
Okay, so 2006, I remember being in the first well, it wasn't the first, but it was the biggest feature I had done at the time. And Diana Agron from Glee was in it before Glee.
Okay.
So it was like 3 years before Glee, and some other guys were in it, but all of us were unknown, and it was the first movie I felt like, oh, I'm on a real movie. And what happened so a lot of things happen at once. So we do this movie and we're like, oh, this might be like it felt like an American Pie, which now you go, why would you do that? At the time, it was like that was still like people were still trying to make those type of movies, right? So we were like, oh, this feels like really funny. Well, it got ruined in the edit, right? It was just one of those really sad experiences, and the whole cast was like really bummed. We're like, oh, this could have been. It wasn't going to win any awards, right? Even in the realm of comedy, but it was like this would be a fun movie, and it just was like, oh, you needed a comedy editor. You needed because the production value was epic, and then it's like it didn't translate into the edit. So we were all really bummed, and then at the same time, YouTube was so new still. And so what happened is, I don't even understand YouTube anymore and how it operates. But at the time, being on the homepage was really special.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it could be life-changing.
Yeah. So The Office was like, in its like second year, and that was on all cylinders. The movie 300 had come out, and somebody said, "Hey, would you like to, do a short?" And I played the Rainn Wilson character, and they called it 305.
I remember this. It was a very big video back then.
And it was like, there wasn't a term viral video back then, but that's what it was. It was like one day somebody at YouTube saw it, because we were like, how'd this happen? Like no one understood the concept of what was happening, right? And so somebody at YouTube saw it, put it on the homepage, exploded into millions and millions of views. And this was like...
Millions back then was...
The only people at the time that you had even heard had done that was Lonely Island. Right? So we're like, oh, this is like, what?
Yeah.
And look, funny story, it's like years later I met Rainn, and I was like,
oh, no shit.
I did this short. And he goes, yeah, I saw it. And then that was it. He was super nice, like outside of that conversation, but when I expected him to be like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I saw it. He turns to somebody else at this thing, and he goes, you've made it when they start going like a Rainn Wilson type and on to the next. And I was like, nice talking to you. That was Brian Regan. So being on that, then they turned that into a feature, right? And then, and
you were involved in the feature.
I was in the feature, but I wasn't a writer. And then I had some like, you'll appreciate this as a creative. I was like, I want to be writing. I didn't get any say over anything. And so here's now 2 movies that like, and they're all my friends to this day. But as a matter of fact, one of the directors was a co-director. One of the directors on that like was one of the biggest helpers on all of my movies up until literally this one. Okay. Right. So I'd be like, a DP wouldn't show up. I'd be like, can you save me? He's like, yep. He edited my movie that got on Netflix. He's really one of my best friends. So, but I still wasn't in charge, right? And so this is going to make me sound like a control freak, which maybe I am a little bit. But I was like, that's where I was discovered this thing in me is like, it's so disappointing to do a movie, do a project that you know, like, so on the first movie, it's like a couple years later, Diana Agron's like huge. If that was fucking movie was done right, you know, maybe it could have. We were like the fucking talk of the town for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but the producers were, but I was in it.
Yep.
And so it was like, and then the movie comes out, and this isn't an offense to anybody, but it was like it was like a $20,000 feature.
Okay.
Right. So it was like, oh, it's just kind of, and I'm not knocking their art, but I was like, you know, you're like, but here's what was great about those experiences. I was like, this is possible.
Yep.
So that's what did it. And so I start, you know, my buddy who was in that first movie with me, still one of my good friends to this day. We don't write a movie because we didn't know how to write a movie then. We wrote a sketch comedy movie. So we were thinking like Kentucky Fried Movie, whatever. And, you know, we're like, I call up the director, guy who ended up being the director. Because I wasn't thinking about directing then, anything. I was like, I want to be a producer and write so I can star in something, you know, that doesn't get fucked up, right? Just being honest.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then it was funny. He was like, well, where are you going to get money? And I was like, I don't know. What do you do? And then that fucking night, I was driving to San Diego, and I'm going to see a movie with my buddy, and this guy that I don't know says, hey, and he calls me out the name of my character in that movie I did a few years before, and he goes, hey, come over here. He was on some date, some older guy, some young girl, very DiCaprio situation, and he goes, so what are you up to? He goes, you don't know me, but I was an investor on that movie.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
2 weeks later, I had a check for $50,000. And then that led to doing 2 movies with
synchronicity, man.
6 days
It's
apart
like,
for
are you kidding
$1.2 million.
me?
Yeah. And, you know, and then that kind of set things in motion.
Yeah. I mean, making anything is hard, going back to that, but making a feature is so difficult. I mean, I made a short, and that was so. I made Cookie, and we raised some money, but
That's awesome.
Getting money to make anything is hard. Making a feature is so difficult. You've made several. You know, before we wrap up, like, I definitely want to like take a second to tell people to go watch The Buddy Cop. It's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube, Tubi, Roku, Amazon Freevee. In a few weeks, it'll be on Apple.
Okay.
But yeah, Roku, Tubi, Freevee, those are the...
A lot of places to go consume this. It's such a funny movie. I got to... Was this the final cut when I saw it?
No? But it was...
Close.
It was the first cut with a crowd.
Yeah.
That was kind
at the SAG building, and it was very cool and so
Dude,
funny.
Thank you for... It was
so
it meant
funny.
So much
it was such a fun night.
That was fun. And then we partied a little bit after.
Yeah. You brought your outfit from the film.
Yeah,
I was thinking.
yeah.
I was trying to think of something because it's like, hey, get him to wear the cop outfit, promote the movie. But the only idea I have, and tell me if you have any ideas. The only idea I have is like, because I try to utilize the space and whatever.
Sure,
it's like it's tough now with this birthday setting. We maybe could play into it with the birthday setting. But the one idea I had was like, when your roommate is a cop and you've done something really bad or something.
Yeah,
so it's
It's
like maybe you're getting ready to go to work and like you could tell like something's up with me, and then like I want to tell you something. Like,
I think when your roommate's a cop's funny.
When your roommate's a cop, yeah.
And
then maybe you're like, oh, did you have a party
Shane,
last night?
can I see you over here for a second?
Hey, you're my roommate right now. Yeah, that's pretty funny. How long? But before we do it, how long does it take you to put on the outfit?
3 minutes.
Okay, let's cut, and if you don't mind, throw it on, and we'll make some silly real quick.
Oh, deal.
Let me cut your mic real quick.
Shane, did you?
I also was gonna like try to prank Gabby like a real cop was here.
Yeah, you can.
But
borrow
she
it.
knows your face.
Oh, got you.
Because of the Southern Men videos, Secretly Woke Southern Men. Go give it a watch real quick. You were like. I owe so much to you for those videos taking off because
You're the genius.
but we on that day we just found that bit and it was funny because I didn't release that because we shot something different. Remember that day we shot a different video, Southern Man video, and then on a whim we found the secretly
you're
woke.
I don't remember what we shot.
It was a joke within it, I think.
I think you came in with that locked and loaded. Because you're like, I want to try one more thing.
I'm vegan. I'm vegan, man. I can't hurt those cute little baby animals.
Me either.
Oh my God, no. You know what I do every time we go out and I order a steak? I tape it under the table so nobody will ever find it.
You tape a steak under the table?
I got the steak duct tape, so anytime we go out to eat and we're like, yes, of course I'd like a steak, as rare as it gets. Oh, this looks mighty fine. I tape it under the table. There's about 45 to 75 taped steaks under.
I wish I could take an ounce of credit. That was all you.
You're a huge part of that success.
Well, I got to be in it. It's funny. Dude, I got a funny story about this I've never told you. My ex from college, who we almost got married ex.
Okay.
We have a kid together, right?
Okay.
Who just got married. I'm at the wedding with my ex and her husband, right? And they're like, hey, we saw you on this Southern Men woke thing. And I was like, what? They're cool people. But her husband comes home from work and is like, hey, honey, check this out.
Get
Your
out.
ex. Yeah.
That's
Isn't that funny?
so funny.
And I hadn't seen her in 15 years. Dude, this is crazy.
Let's just start
43
rolling.
pounds, personal best.
So let's roll, but we could start it off
Like I'm coming down from the bedroom.
I just threw a party and you're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Okay, okay. And if you feel free to tweak my character.
Yeah. We'll find something. And if we don't, this will be the entertainment at the end of it.
Hey.
What?
Did you mess with my belt? Did you get this?
No, I didn't mess with your belt. I don't mess with your shit, man.
Bro,
I'm trying to set up
I know how my belt fit. It fit. You switched this out.
I didn't switch it out. You started taking Ozempic. I don't know if you remember. You take it in your sleep.
Of course I take it in my sleep.
Okay, I'm trying to set up for a podcast shoot here. And do you
want me as a guest? You were talking about having me on as a guest.
Yeah, maybe one day I can have you on as a guest.
Wait a second. It doesn't make sense. I take it in my sleep? You know what I'm sick of you doing to me? You talk me into a different reality than it's reality.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just because you're a cop doesn't mean you can boss me around. We're roommates. Remember, roommates first.
Yes.
Roommates first. Roommates first.
Can I speak to you over here? Come here.
I'm not going to do any field sobriety tests or anything. I'm not going to do any
Listen, I gotta get you back for this belt thing. I can't go to work like this. What am I supposed to do?
Hey, I don't know. Gain weight. Put it on a different belt loop. Is it on the last one?
Yes. Look, 100%. Look. Here. This is too heavy.
Don't pull the gun out. No.
Oh, God. I'm so sorry.
I've told you this. The guns freak me out.
It's not loaded. Oh, never mind. Safety's on. God. Seriously, bro. I know you don't respect me, but you have to respect the badge.
I respect you as a roommate, and that's where it stops. Past that, you're a cop. You're not a cop of this house. You're late on rent.
Both are true. I need you to listen to me for a second.
Okay.
Imagine this. I walk into the LAPD, and I'm like, hey, Captain, how are you? Oh, whoops, I'm the bumbling pratfall idiot. I will get fired, and then you will never get rent. My point is this. Don't ever do this to me again. Okay?
Okay.
Give me your belt.
I admit it. I'm giving you Ozempic in your sleep. It's not you doing it.
I knew it! Why would you give me Ozempic in my sleep?
Because you're fucking fat. You. I give you Ozempic.
I was fat. Thank you. You knew I was.
No, we're not like that. We're just roommates. All right. I don't also hug cops.
You know what? Look at the situation. This is not working out. Okay?
Okay.
I still love you. I don't want you to be offended by that.
Okay, you know what?
We are cousins, but cousins shouldn't be roommates. Why? Because one cousin decides to stab them with an Ozempic pen.
Okay, maybe I should have told you I've been stabbing you with Ozempic for 3 or 4 months now. But hey,
3 or 4 months?
The neighbors Also, Bruce is scared.
I'm so sorry, Bruce.
No more yelling.
Neighbors.
No more yelling. So,
You know, I have some buddies you might like to meet at work. They're called canary. Yeah.
all right. You know what? Maybe we should. We live together, so I think moving forward, maybe we should.
Wait a second.
Let's let everything.
Let me see your eyes. Nothing to drink this morning?
I'm fucking drunk. It's my house. It's my apartment. I can drink.
Our house, our apartment. That I'm
our-
mildly a few months behind rent time.
I'm paying more rent, so right now I'm saying it's mine. Listen,
Hey, you're not struggling with money. Have you seen Bernie Sanders on the internet? I know how much Ozempic costs, okay? So, you're not paying rent, but you have enough to get the Ozempic pens and stab me in the stomach with them.
I just don't like seeing a fat tub of fucking cop walking around my apartment, so I feel better now that you've lost some weight. You should too. You should be saying thank you.
I know there's a good donut joke here, but I'm so fucking mad, I don't even want to think of one.
Okay, listen.
You know what? Here's the thing, cousin. You've hurt my feelings today.
Okay.
It's one thing to pull pranks. I get it. It's a cop. My cousin's a cop. I'm gonna pull a prank. But here's what really hurts me. My own fucking cousin calls me a fat fucking piece.
Well, you're not
of
fat
lard.
anymore.
This sucks.
Pull your pants
This
up.
whole day sucks.
Pull your pants up. All right, you know what? Maybe I should admit to some other things too.
Yes, please. I
You
bet
just gotta promise-
I fucking know what they are. Go ahead. I
bet
I
you-
want to hear you say it.
I bet you don't actually. You gotta promise me though you won't arrest me.
I can't promise this is my job. If you did something illegal, I could go to jail if I don't report it. But I'll do you a solid.
Okay?
I'll risk it.
Okay.
I'm not going to arrest you. Go for it.
Okay. You got that on camera.
Who the fuck is this guy anyway?
We're setting up for a podcast. You know I shoot podcasts every week. The birthday podcast.
I'm sorry, Kyle.
It's the Birthday Boy podcast.
Sorry. I didn't know who it was. I took a glance. Kyle.
You
I
see
was being
Kyle
rude.
every week.
I know I was being rude. It's the Ozempic, man. It's making my head fuzzy. I'm becoming face
Clearly,
blind. I'm
it's
sorry.
the Birthday Boy podcast. I set it up to look like a birthday party every week.
Hey, I'm still pissed about
Okay,
this.
I need to admit to some things.
Yes, admit away. But sorry if I'm a little distracted right now.
Pull your fucking pants up. I can smell your
You
ass.
fucking did this to me.
The dog,
Sorry.
the neighbors. Listen, I took a shit in the kids' aisle at Target.
Why would I be mad at that?
Okay, great.
I
That's out of my
fucking hate
system.
kids.
I feel better. 2, I'm the titty baby killer.
Yeah, everything's clear up here.
My girlfriend is home now.
I'm sorry. What
Can I help you, ma'am?
say? Shit. Oh my god, I thought it was a real cow.
I have nothing else. We should just.
I was like, what? What did I do? I didn't do anything.
Sorry, I'm a hunger. No, I'm just kidding.
Sweaty.
We were doing a bit. I called you girlfriend for the video.
Oh god.
Fucking.
Hi, boy. Hi, boy. Okay, I have
Well-
less than 15 minutes to get ready.
Yeah, go get ready.
She's busy.
I need an ending to this.
That was it.
She's
That's it.
busy.
Thank you, my friend, for being here.
Yeah.
For Content with Shane Hartline. Everybody go check out The Buddy Cop on YouTube. All the places that you can find it right now. And soon it'll be on Apple or iTunes.
Yep.
But
Tubi, Roku, Freevee,
all the places. What's your socials?
David Leo actor.
David Leo Actor on socials. Thank you, man. This is great.
Seriously, thank you.
Love you, dude. This is fun.
So fucking fun.
It's content.